Good morning. It is so great to be in New York, and I'm incredibly excited today to introduce an all-new MacBook Air with a Retina display and a whole lot more.
Now, as Tim said, the #1 feature customers have wanted in a MacBook Air has been a Retina display. But we've made the display better in every way. The familiar aluminum bezel of the current MacBook Air is gone. The new Air's sleek design takes the display glass right to the edge of the enclosure, forming borders that are 50% narrower. It features a 13.3-inch display, and when it comes to resolution, we've taken the pixels and quadrupled them, providing 4 times the resolution for over 4 million pixels. And even with this narrower border design, we were still able to keep the FaceTime camera at the top of the display. The MacBook Air has another new feature that customers have been asking for, and that's Touch ID. And to enable Touch ID, the new Air comes with Apple's T2 security chip. T2 also features an SSD controller, which has automatic on-the-fly data encryption, offering the most secure storage of any notebook. The new MacBook Air has our latest generation keyboard with keys that offer 4 times the stability over the previous generation. A modern keyboard deserves to be paired with a modern trackpad, so we've replaced the old diving board version with the new Force Touch trackpad. Now, whether it's in dorm rooms or lounging on the sofa at home, we know customers spend a lot of time watching videos on their MacBook Air. So we wanted to make a better sound experience. It is 25% louder, it has 2 times more bass and wide stereo sound. So the new MacBook Air has 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports. There's an 8th generation dual-core CPU, along with the latest Intel integrated graphics. And it also supports up to 16 gigabytes of faster memory, which is double the capacity of the previous Air. It has the same great 12 hours of wireless web browsing, but now has up to 13 hours of iTunes movie playback. The new Air has an unbelievable 17% less volume than its predecessor. It's just 15.6 millimeters, which is 10% thinner than the previous Air. So the new MacBook Air is configured with 8 gigabytes of memory, a 1.6 Core i5 processor with turbo up to 3.6, and 128 gigs of storage. And will start at $1199, making it the most affordable Retina Mac we've ever offered. You can order it starting today, and it will be available next week.
Now, there's another small but mighty Mac our users have been waiting for.
I can't wait to tell you about the biggest update ever to the new Mac Mini. Now, I'm sure you've noticed that we've given it an awesome space gray finish. The #1 thing our customers wanted us to do is give it more powerful processors. So now, every Mac Mini starts with 4 cores. But we didn't think that was far enough. So we're also giving Mac Mini 6 cores processors as well. And these aren't mobile parts, no. These are higher power, 8th generation CPUs with faster graphics too. Ripping through traditional desktop apps like Logic and Photoshop, and workflow apps like MainStage and Compressor, making this by far the most powerful Mac Mini we've ever made. So the new Mac Mini can now go up to 64 gigs of memory. And not only is this memory faster, it's also an SODIMMs, something we know our Mac Mini customers will really appreciate. And every new Mac Mini also has the Apple T2 security chip with its many new features, including HEVC video encode that, get this, 30 times faster. The new Mac Mini has an entirely new thermal system with double the airflow while still being super quiet. With gigabit Ethernet, 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports, an HDMI port, 2 USB-A ports, it can connect to almost anything. The entry config has 8 gigs of memory, a 3.6 gigahertz quad-core processor, and a 128 gigabyte SSD. And it starts at just $799. You can order it starting today, and it'll be available next week.
Today, we're announcing an all-new iPad Pro. It's going to push what you can do on iPad or on any computer even further. And here it is.
We've always felt that the iPad should be all about the display. And in this new iPad Pro, we have an LCD that stretches from edge to edge and top to bottom. Now, we achieved this design by rounding the corners of the display using the same pixel masking and anti-aliasing technology that we introduced in the iPhone XR. And just like in the XR, we call it a liquid retina display. It is packed with our most advanced technologies like wide color, True Tone, ProMotion, and of course, support for Apple Pencil. This is the same take anywhere size you loved in the 10.5-inch design, but now with an 11-inch display. And it has 250,000 more pixels. And this is the new 12.9-inch iPad Pro. It's now almost exactly the same size as an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. These new iPad Pros are just 5.9 millimeters thin. In the case of the 12.9-inch, that's nearly 15% thinner than before, because it now has Face ID. But bringing it to the iPad Pro meant we had to optimize the cameras, and we even had to retrain the underlying neural networks to work specifically in all the ways that you use your iPad. Portrait, landscape, attached to a keyboard. And no matter how you use these new iPad Pros, they are always right side up. Now, with support for Face ID, you might have noticed there's no longer a home button. Well, no home button means that all those familiar gestures from the iPhone X now come to the iPad. So for instance, you can swipe down from the upper right-hand corner to get to Control Center. You access the dock by swiping up from the bottom. If you continue swiping up and pause, you get to the app switcher. And you can even swipe along the bottom edge to quickly switch between your most recently used apps. Because these new iPad Pros are powered by the all-new A12X Bionic. The A12X features an 8-core CPU with 4 performance cores and 4 high-efficiency cores. And with our latest generation performance controller, multi-threaded workloads can now leverage all 8 of those cores simultaneously. Single-core performance is up by 35% compared to last year's already really fast iPad Pros. Multi-core workloads are now up to 90% faster. The A12X Bionic has an all-new, Apple-designed 7-core GPU that delivers 2 times the performance of the previous generation. Onboard the A12X, and coming for the first time to an iPad, we have our latest generation of the Neural Engine. And just like in the A12, the Neural Engine is capable of delivering an unbelievable 5 trillion operations per second. And this year, we have a new fast storage controller on the A12X, which enables up to 1 terabyte in storage capacity. And so in these new iPad Pros, we're moving to USB-C. This brings a whole new set of capabilities to the iPad Pros, like connecting to accessories that change how you use your iPad, cameras, musical instruments, or even docks. Or connecting to high-resolution external displays up to 5K. And with USB-C, you can connect to these data accessories and displays at the same time. We think our Pro customers are really going to love this. And also, for the first time on these iPad Pros, we now support charging out over USB-C, so you can even charge your iPhone when you're on the go. And with these new iPad Pros, the second-generation Pencil has been completely redesigned. The new Apple Pencil attaches magnetically to the iPad Pro. It automatically pairs and starts charging wirelessly. And this year, there's a whole new way of interacting with the Apple Pencil. Just tap twice on it to switch modes. In Notes, you can switch between your current tool and the eraser. And in other apps, this behavior will be customizable, which puts even more control into our users' hands. It's amazing how much performance we've packed into these iPads. The 11-inch iPad Pro is offered in these 4 storage options, and it starts at $799. The 12.9-inch iPad Pro is offered in these same storage options, and it starts at $999. Customers can start placing orders today, and they're going to be showing up next week on the 7th.